Good morning, Honorable Chairman and Founder Trustee Sir. Respected Trustee Shri Ashish Mishra Sir and Shri Aditya Mishra.
With the singing of national anthem. I request you all to please rise for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलसितरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाए तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Yeah, sir.
स्टार्ट सर सामने जरा सर हाँ यस
ग्रुप फोटो बन लेना.
हाँ हो गया.
ले लिया. Okay.
हरीशचंद्र मिश्रा जी, ट्रस्टी आदित्य आशीष मिश्रा जी, आदित्य मिश्रा जी, and Dean Management Dr. Sunita Srivastava. I welcome each and everyone to the induction program of 23-25 batch Prabandhan 23. See students, over here into the Aditya School of Business Management, we will be giving you all the intricacies of each and every field that is relating to the finance, marketing, HR and operations. So be ready for your roller coaster ride, buckle up your seat belt and be ready for your roller coaster ride of the 2 years. Thank you very much and all the very best for you.
First of all, very heartily congratulations to all of you for making it here. This is my second visit to this particular institute. I think I was there earlier this year as a part of an entrepreneurship and innovative session. So I think this is when I addressed the second year students. So I think when they invited me, I was happy to be back here. So what I do is I got a small presentation which I share. I think as they say, picture speaks much better than words. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. I think they're just putting up the presentation. So I think this has been my journey. I hope it is visible at the back. Or maybe you can dim the lights if it's not in that particular case, right? So I think back in 2015, which is like 7-8 years ago, I was like a student like you guys and I was sitting in my own induction session back at IIM. Now I'll take you through the journey, how I have evolved, because I'm sure a lot of you will find interest in that. So I come from a very small town which is Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. Did my schooling majorly there. Sorry, can you go back to that? So in a small town like Kanpur,
Hello.
yeah. So So I was talking about, I think is this working, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I come from a very small town of Kanpur. I think Kanpur is famous for IIT Kanpur, which you would have heard. So I think out of the 4 family members that we have in our house, my dad is an engineer, I am an engineer, my elder brother is an engineer. Luckily our mom is not an engineer, although she is a postgraduate as well. So I think the only option that I was given was either to become a doctor or to become an engineer, and I think by luck I decided to become an engineer. So I think I did my engineering from JSS College in Noida, which is a good institute in UP. It's not well known at all across India, so I'm sure nobody knows this particular. That's okay. After I think 4 years of computer science engineering, I realized that okay, I was offered a job by Infosys, which was a mass recruiter. Out of I think 250 students, I was also one which was recruited. But I have always done something which is a little different from the well-traveled path, and I think back in 2012 I decided to start working at a startup. Right now it's very cool to work in a startup. I think back in 2012 it was not. My parents was like कि इतनी छोटी कंपनी में क्या करोगे काम करके जिसका लोगों ने नाम भी नहीं सुना होगा, why don't you choose Infosys? So I started working at a very small company which is basically called IntelliPlanner Software Systems in 2012. Had a wonderful year there. The good thing there was after studying my engineering, I realized I'm not a person who can sit in front of the screen and code for 8 to 10 hours. So I told my CEO that okay, I want something exciting, something which involves me interacting more with people. So he gave me an opportunity of project management and business development. So I think I traveled across India. We had a lot of clients from government organizations to big transporters. So what we were doing basically back in 2012, when not everybody had a smartphone and 4G and 3G was not a thing, we were actually giving our clients a software where they could track their vehicles, right? So all the long distance transporters, all the coal mines and all of these places where you had big trucks and dumpers running, we used to install a small device in that and we used to show it on a software that okay, people can track where is their vehicles and they can do that automation. Did that for almost a year, and then I realized that okay, with my computer science engineering education, I don't think so I can go far in managerial space. And that is when I decided to go to IIM Indore, and that is where I started my MBA. I think those were one of the most wonderful years of my life. थोड़ा सा अगर फीस कम होती तो मैं फेल हो जाता वहाँ 3-4 साल और रहता, but that was not the case. So I found a way out of it. I think I'll talk about that. So those 2 years were the most wonderful years spent at IIM Indore. The problem at IIM Indore is like I have an elder brother who is also an IIT IIM graduate. So when I got my admission letter at IIM Indore, he told me, don't be happy. This was the easiest part. Now starts the toughest part. Right? And it was actually very, very tough. When you are in the, I think my batch size was 450 students. And there were people from IITs, SRCCs, all the big colleges of India. And that is when I realized that it actually became really, really tough to survive in that place when you come from a college that people don't even know the name of. So I think that is something that I talk about. How do you do that? How do you build yourself? And how do you make sure this is? So I think this is what I was telling Brian sir. So Sony Entertainment Channel, I am sure a lot of you would have seen that Hindi TV entertainment channel, Kaun Banega Crorepati, Indian Idol, Kapil Sharma shows, all these shows you might have seen, right? So they picked me up as a summer intern. So that is the first time in 2014 I came to Bombay for 2 months to do my summer internship. I had a wonderful stint here. Then they gave me a pre-placement offer, and I think in 2015 is when I started my career as a full-time management trainee here. So from 2015 to almost 2019, I was a brand manager with Sony Entertainment Channel, marketed some of the most top properties of India like Kaun Banega Crorepati, Indian Idol, Kapil Sharma Show, Super Dancers, Crime Patrol, CID, and all of those exciting shows. Wonderful journey, I think, as a management trainee. The good thing was it was a very new industry for me, so I learned a lot of things there and I survived. After 4 years, I decided that okay, I got bored out of the media industry, right? Because every year you do the same show, right? Like KBC comes every year. Okay, for our happiness, we change the brand line, we do something more exciting, but at the end of the day, you are doing the exact same things. So that is when I decided that life में कुछ नया करना चाहिए, and that is when I decided to join a very, very boring industry, which is the life insurance industry. Right? Life insurance is a very difficult industry to be in. कि लोग इंश्योरेंस खरीद लेते हैं, उसके 5 साल बाद भी उनको समझ में नहीं आता है कि उन्होंने खरीदा क्या है. मतलब 3 साल मैंने काम किया इंडस्ट्री में, मुझे भी आधी चीजें अभी नहीं समझ में आती. So it's that boring industry to be. The good thing was I started my career at Bajaj Allianz Life Insurance, and they had told me to lead their digital marketing team. Now I think you guys are blessed enough where you can do a course in digital marketing, do so many online courses. Back in 2019, I think this was not the trend. So I had to learn it the very difficult way. मुझे 6 लोगों की टीम दे दी गई थी that you have to lead these people, and the biggest part was कि मुझे digital marketing में कुछ आता नहीं था, right? So I had to lead them, also not show them that I don't know anything, so that they can't start taking me for a ride. But had a wonderful stint there for almost a year, learned digital marketing, and that is when I excelled. Then I decided to move another boring company, which is Tata AI Life Insurance. But the exciting thing was I was given an opportunity to lead their digital experience team. How many of you shop here on Amazon? How many of you shop here on Flipkart? So what does a guy who heads a digital experience team do is give people a better UI and UX experience. UI is user interface, UX is user experience, right? So on all our digital properties like our mobile application, like a website, like all the applications that our agents use on a day-to-day basis, how can I make sure that I give them a better experience, right? Just to give you in layman terms, कि अगर 5 क्लिक में आप Amazon पे प्रोडक्ट खरीदते हो उसको मैं 2 क्लिक में कैसे कर दूँ और how can I reduce the scroll, how can I make sure that every information is present there. Had a wonderful stint of almost 2 years there. Luckily in COVID it was work from home, enjoyed my stint there, and then I decided to take a small corporate break. And then my last organization where I joined, I started leading the brand team for XYXX Apparels. Anybody who's heard about XYXX Apparels? Okay, that was the reason that they hired me, because nobody has heard about that particular brand. But the good thing what happened is in all these last 8 years, I always stayed connected to a lot of students, right? Through mentoring, through teaching platforms, through a lot of startups and edtech startups that I used to work in my free time. So I've mentored close to I think 20,000 odd students and working professionals. Last year is when I was invited at IIM Indore to teach as a visiting faculty. So I took a course there on media and entertainment. This year I took that course again. Last year I think 34 students signed up to my course. This year there were 57 students. And this year I had to go back to campus and teach on the same classrooms where I had studied. I mean, it was a very different kind of an experience that I had. Then I also started teaching at other institutes. So at IIM Kashipur, if you see this picture I think it's a little small, but this picture has students who are 55 and 60-year-olds and heads of a lot of companies as well. So I teach across MBA programs, executive MBA programs, management development programs, and then I train at a lot of other IIMs and things like that. So that is the professional journey that I've had. In terms of personal things, I love to stay fit, I love to travel. Thanks to the student exchange program and my interest in travel, I have traveled 26 countries so far. I would want to travel all the 196 before I die, and that is one of the dreams that I would want to fulfill. And yeah. So that has been the experience, and I think the good thing that Professor Bryant told me that you guys also have an opportunity to go on student exchange. So maybe I think on the next slide I will talk about it. So I think this was my journey. Now I think I would just want you to share a few things that you can make the better out of this particular MBA program. Right. So my first boss, he was an IIT Kanpur and a Columbia University graduate. Right. Columbia University is I think the top 1 or 2 universities across the world to do their MBA. So when I was going for doing my MBA, when I told him that okay, I'm resigning this job and I have got an offer from IIM Indore, I am going. So he told me you should do an MBA in only 2 scenarios. First scenario is where you want to change the industry that you are working in, right? Like I was working in the software industry, but after my MBA, I started working in the media and the entertainment space. A lot of other people, like a lot of my colleagues who were from the tech industry or the software industry, they got into finance industry, operations industry, so that was the first scenario. The second thing he told me you should do an MBA when you want to skip a couple of promotions in your existing job. Like for example, if I start as an assistant manager, after 2 years I might become a manager, after another 2 years I might become a senior manager. But if I go to a premium B school and spend 2 years of my MBA, I can directly become a senior manager from assistant manager. So these are the 2 scenarios in which he told me to do. But the problem in this country is कि सबको अच्छी job चाहिए होती है, इसलिए हम MBA कर लेते हैं. Right? A lot of my colleagues and a lot of my batchmates, the only focus was that okay, I want a good job, and then it took the 2 years of the MBA program. So make sure, see, MBA is a very holistic program. How many of you here are freshers? Are there people in the room who are with some work experience who are doing this particular program? Okay, so in my batch, I think the average work experience was almost 2 years. So a lot of people knew what to be taken out of your MBA program. right? The good thing that happens when you work in an industry, you understand a little bit and you can take more things out of the MBA program. The problem with freshers is you don't know anything, right? आप आते हो, आपको पढ़ाया जाता है, आप पढ़ के निकल जाते हो, and that is when you realize that okay, I could have taken more things out of an MBA program. What do I mean by taking out more things of an MBA program is you get a lot of different perspectives, different subjects, different industries, different areas of an organization. So as an MBA student, you will also be taught subjects in HR, you will also be taught subjects in marketing, you will also be taught subjects in finance, in operations. You get a holistic learning of all of these subjects. So you as an individual are, I think, future CEOs. One day in your life, you will be some CXOs or CEOs of some organizations. So you need to have a holistic learning of all of these things. I'm sure a lot of you might have a mindset that okay, I would want to become build a career in marketing or build a career in finance. But it's always good to know a lot of other things. So that is what I have written. Please make sure that you focus on your academics as well. I was lucky enough that I was not a very great student. I was an average student and I think I was happy about it. But there are other ways in which I built my career and here I am that where I am. Right? Those other things are the point number 3 and the point number 4. As an MBA program, you get a lot of opportunities where you can develop yourself as a personality. Right? 6-7 साल पहले मुझे कोई माइक दे देता और 100 लोगों के सामने बोलने को बोल देता, I wouldn't have been able to do that, right? But the good thing was in MBA program you get a lot of extracurricular activities and other things that you are busy outside your classroom as well. That basically makes you a good orator or a good individual or helps in developing your personality, right? Had I been great at academics, I would have still not got this particular skill that I have. So what I did is, like I told you, I was an average student. I made sure that I was always busy on campus. So all the extracurricular activities, all the positions of responsibilities, I was a part of so many clubs and committees. I was there on a lot of life projects that are usually floated where you work with the industry person and understand what the industry wants. So that is how I built myself as a person and helped in building my own personality apart from academics. But I think there could have been a probability that I could have been good at academics, so I would want you guys to focus on academics, but also make sure that you find out the time to do things apart from academics and the extracurricular activities, because that helps you in making you a better individual, right? Because after an MBA, it's not a desk job that you are going to get. Mostly you will get a job where you will have to interact with a lot of people, do a lot of things from a lot of teams, make sure that you get a lot of work done from others as well. So all these skills are something that you will acquire through all the extracurricular activities or things that will happen outside your classroom as well, right? Communication skills, I think the problem with this country is कि अच्छी English अगर बोलता है तो आदमी अच्छा है, अगर अच्छी English नहीं बोल पाता है then he is not a good individual, which is a problem and I'm sure that is going to stay for a little longer. So make sure that wherever you get an opportunity, you build on your communication skills, be it with your friends, be it with your seniors, be it with your professors, be it with your colleagues, anywhere that you go, make sure that you interact, you talk a lot, you try to get to know a lot of things and have your own point of view, right? Like for example, even if tomorrow I would have applied for a finance role, despite I come from a marketing background in terms of my education, the person who would have interviewed me would have wanted me to know what is my point of view on things, right? So make sure as an MBA graduate, you have a point of view on a lot of things, right? So you will have to also read what is happening across in politics, across the world, in terms of news. Keep yourself updated along with the academics and the extracurricular activities that you will be taking part of. Then like I said, I think I had really great instances in my engineering also and in my MBA also where I learned a lot of things from my internship, right? So I think I got 2 PPOs, which means I did my internships really well. So I've interned at almost 4-5 different organizations, worked with 2-3 live projects. That basically helps you in giving you a trailer what is required from the industry, right? Because right now most of you are freshers, you don't know what is expected from you when you go inside that particular industry and you get a full-time job. So make sure that all these live projects or the internship opportunities that you are going to get, you make the best out of it. Because after doing a lot of internships, I knew what I don't want to do in life, right? Like a lot of people who think that okay, they would want to build a career in finance. When you go to a bank, do a 2-month internship or do a 2-month live project, you realize that okay, maybe finance is not my cup of tea. When you come back in the second year, you can still change your course and see that okay, maybe I would want to change any other particular course or I would want to move on into a different stream in terms of making my own career. So it's basically a test that I think helps you determine whether you are fit for that particular role or not, right? The good thing is it's only 2 months and you don't have to build a career. Like for example, a lot of my colleagues after 4 or 5 years of working in that particular job, they realize this is not what they want to do. So if you get that hint in that particular 2 months of internship or the life project, I think that is how you can. The second last thing, which is networking. So like I think you would have seen a lot of memes on LinkedIn, right? MBA is a very highly paid networking event. So make sure that you network with a lot of people. I love networking with a lot of people. So I connect with my seniors, I connected with my juniors, I was really good in talking to a lot of people across the industries. Here also, like I've come here, I was trying to understand and hear a lot of people's perspectives, right? Because after 2 years when you graduate, a lot of you will go to different companies and different industries, but what will connect you is you are from this particular campus, right? So out of that picture that I showed you, I think last 4 jobs, I think 3 of the jobs is something where either my senior or my batchmate has referred me into their particular companies, right? Why did they refer? Because they knew me and they knew that okay, this person is somebody who's going to do justice for that particular role and they were able to do that. Now when I started teaching, my networking skills came very handy because I networked and connected with the current students and tried to understand what do you want to study, right? And that is how I designed my own course. Then I connected with the professors and tried to understand how to build the outline, what are the case studies that I would want to involve, how do I make it more interesting. And then I connected with the current students and trying to understand that okay, how do I improve my particular course. So make sure that you keep talking to a lot of people, keep networking, the industries that you will work into, the internship that you will always do. Make sure that you keep in touch with people and interact with more and more people and try to learn from their experiences and share your experiences as well. Right? See, MBA program, a lot of teaching happens from the classrooms and the professors, but a lot of teaching happens through your peer network as well. Like in my MBA program, there were people who were CAs, there were people who were doctors, there were people who were engineers like me, there were people who were economists. So everybody in the room got a very different perspective to a problem, right? Because an engineer thinks in a very different way, a doctor thinks in a very different way. So that is how I try to make sure that through a peer learning platform is something that you get in these 2 years. So you will learn a lot from the different experiences that are on the table. Once you get into the industry or you get into a job, all those things will be missing. Whatever you think is right would start being right, right? You will not get a lot of contradictory or a different point of views that you will get. Like for example, at IIMS we had a case study problems that was usually given in a lot of our classes. So everybody had a different point of view and then from understanding the different point of views, you understood that okay, these are the other possible solutions for that particular problem as well. And that is how the learning happened in the case. Last thing is please be very, very curious, ask a lot of questions. The first thing that when I enter a classroom and start teaching my students, I tell them no question is stupid question, every question is right. Because that is how it helps you to learn, it helps you how to grow, it helps increase your bandwidth and your brain knowledge. Right? So I think these were some of the things and this was my experience that I wanted to share with you guys. I wish you all the very best. Please make sure that you make the most of these particular 2 years. I don't think so, you might be lucky as me because now I am a visiting faculty, so I go back to Indore, almost spend a week on that campus where I would have wanted to spend more time. So make sure that you utilize the best of this because once you get into the industry and then that rat race will begin and the corporate life will carry on forever and forever. So please make sure you make the best 2 years of this particular MBA program. So yeah, I think with that I wish you guys all the very best and I hope you make the best out of your MBA program. I'm sure you will keep seeing me in the next event or maybe at the visiting faculty, but that's something that might happen. Anybody who wants to stay connected, you can search for my name on LinkedIn. And just the last slide that I wanted to quickly show is, yeah. So this is the last slide. A lot of my friends and a lot of my batchmates work at very bigger brands and earn a lot more money than what I do. But I don't think so anybody has had the opportunity to work with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and Salman Khan. I have been lucky enough that I have been able to direct both of them on how do I want them to act or what kind of impressions that I want them to give. So make sure that you make the best out of your MBA and with that I wish you guys all the very best and thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, sir, for your wise words of wisdom.
We would like to request Brian sir to provide a token of gratitude to sir. To give us an insight on expectations from management students. Before inviting sir, here is a short intro of sir. Sir has been a mental health management expert, motivational speaker and a life coach with a strong focus on yoga, life sciences and mystic knowledge. For more than 15 years now with over 1,000 lectures and sessions to his credit. He also conducts one-to-one classes on a regular basis for mind management and voice training. Sir's clients include CEOs from USA, UK and Europe and of course our very own India. Sir has been covered for his activities by all leading newspapers, magazines and online news sites across the country. Sir was conferred with the Midday Award for Excellence in Motivational Speaking on 30th May 2019. He is also the recipient of Navbharat Healthcare Awards 2021 for Excellence in Mental Health Management. This award was presented by Shri Bhagat Singh Koshyari, Honorable Governor of Maharashtra. Vivek Shetty sir heads Indus Communications, a 360 degrees communications agency offering state-of-the-art services in advertising, public relations, event management and celebrity management to leading business houses, multinationals and celebrities. Sir was conferred with Navshakti Award on 29 April 2016 for excellence in communications and brand leading to social impact. This award was presented by Shri Uddhav Thackeray, former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Sir was conferred with the Pancham Award for Melodious Voice of the Year in 2012. His popular radio show Celebrating Life with FM Rainbow is part of the reputed and largest Akashvani radio network. Sir hosted a television show CEO Talk with Vivek Shetty, was one of the most popular television shows for the corporate India. Sir strongly believes in yoga and religiously devotes himself practicing it every single day. He has contributed as a freelance writer to leading publications like DNA, Midday, Dainik Jagran, etc. We would now like to request Mr. Vivek sir to address all of us.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Can I see a few smiles this morning, please? You are looking very, very serious as if something, terrible may happen to you all this morning. You have to go through some boring lectures and some boring people. You have been made to sit in this hall. Don't worry. I always tell everybody before we start a session, please don't suffer the speaker, enjoy the speaker. Yeah? So we're going to crack jokes. I'm going to tell you some very, very interesting stories which may stay with you for a lifetime. And please pay attention while we go through this process, because one or two things that you may probably pick up this morning may change your life forever. And as I go through this interesting interaction, I call this an interaction, not a lecture. Each one of you sitting in this auditorium is bursting with energy. And so am I. So let's see how far we go this morning with our energies. I don't use PowerPoints anymore. PowerPoints are passé for me. As a yogi, I'll use energy points. Energy can transform life. So I'm going to call a few of you all up here and do some interesting energy experiments with you. It's good fun. You'll love it. Alright? But let me begin by saying Namaste. Yeah? Namaste is the Anjali Mudra in yoga. And when you bring your hands together in this fashion, with the fingertips touching each other, you raise your inner vibration, you raise your level of receptivity, you raise your level of focus, and you become, in a sense, you move towards oneness with the audience in front of you, with the people in front of you. That is the secret of the traditional Indian Namaste. Alright? It's very, very profound. It's very, very deep. Now, before I start any session, I would also like to acknowledge the Aditya School of Business Management, for displaying exemplary vision in organizing sessions of this nature, which will give you insights which sometimes may not even be part of curriculum and syllabus anywhere in the world. So today I am going to share a few things with you which may not be part of curriculum and syllabus anywhere in the world. Please make the most of it. So congratulations, Brian, to you, sir, and all the dedicated team of the Aditya School of Business Management here for organizing sessions of this nature. For me, it is always a great pleasure to interact with young minds and have some good fun. So that's how I look at this. Have a smile on your face and be relaxed. Take a deep breath. When you smile, it is health for you. If you frown, it is disease for you. Yeah? So please don't frown, smile, be relaxed, and you'll enjoy this session this morning. I make two requests before I start any session. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask for your bank balance. Neither am I going to borrow money from any of you all. But the two requests are, please keep your spine erect as far as possible, right through the session. What is the importance of an erect spine? Well, we all have heard and probably even studied the theory of evolution. As per the theory of evolution, we were probably monkeys or apes, and gradually over a period of time, we evolved to become human beings. Am I right? Yes. Can I have some energy this morning? Some noise? Yes? Great. You all have had breakfast, I'm sure, this morning. Yeah? Now, as we evolved from being animals to being human beings, our spine also evolved from being horizontal to becoming vertical. Now see the difference in intelligence between animals and human beings. So in yoga we say, and as a yogi I say, the spine literally holds your intelligence. The spine is the center of your experience in the universe. And for those of you who don't believe me, conduct a small experiment with yourselves. Slouch a little bit, bend a little bit, observe your levels of attention and focus and awareness. You would have noticed your concentration is down, your focus is probably a little diminished. And the second request. Now this is a far too cliched term. It has been used, far too loosely. But I'm going to repeat this, be in the now. But what do I mean when I say be in the now? I'm going to give you a very, very interesting humorous story. It may probably bring a smile on your face. There were three brilliant scientists. They were traveling from point A to point B, and they decided to use a train. They were on the platform waiting for their train. Three brilliant scientists with a long list of degrees. Okay? Every possible degree that you can possibly imagine in the field of science they had. And they were discussing the launch of another rocket into space, which was scheduled to happen 6 months down the line. And all these three scientists were actively involved in the project. So very serious, intense discussion is happening. Suddenly, the train comes. The train comes. Two of them have boarded the train. One scientist, unfortunately, got left behind. Now the scientist who got left behind was a little downcast, was a little dejected. So another passenger who was on the same platform waiting for his train walks up to the scientist and asks him, "Sir, why are you looking so down? Why are you looking so dejected? What's wrong?" He told him, "I missed my train." So the passenger comforted the scientist and told him, "Relax, don't worry, another train will be on the platform. In 20 minutes you can take that train and proceed." He said, "No, that is not the problem." Then the curious passenger again asked him, "Sir, what is the problem?" So he said, "My two friends are already in the train." So again the passenger comforts him and tells him, "Relax, you can call them up, ask them to wait for you at the next station, and you can catch up with them by taking the next train. Again, the scientist said that is also not the problem. Now this passenger was, very restless, and with one finality he asked him, "Sir, what is the problem then?" He said, "Those two friends of mine who have boarded the train had actually come to see me off. Now they are in the train and I am here." Now this is what happened to three brilliant scientists. See, they had a long list of degrees, don't forget that. Yeah? They were absolutely brilliant in their field, but what happened? They missed the moment. And when you miss the now, a lot of silly mistakes can also happen. And a lot of big mistakes can also happen. Every moment is a moment of infinite possibilities, provided you are in the moment. Every moment has the solution to every problem, provided you are in the moment. All of us know this fascinating, beautiful country called India has another name. What is the name? Can anybody? Yes, please, that lady, stand up, stand up. What's your name? Yeah, you in the blue. Blue or grey? Yes, you. What's your name, please?
Sanika.
Sanika. Good morning, Sanika.
Good morning.
What's the other name of India?
Bharat.
Fantastic. A big round of applause for Sanika. Please, sir. Thank you so much. So, Bharat. Now, I'm going to share with you a meaning of Bharat, which I don't know how many of you have heard. But in that meaning, there is something which may stay with you for a lifetime. Okay? The Bha in Bharat stands for Bhavna, sentiment. The Ra in Bharat stands for Raga, the tune. The Ta in Bharat stands for Tala, the rhythm. पूरी भावनाओं से रागा को समझ के ताल में रहिए. With all the sentiment and passion at your command, understand the tune and be one with the rhythm. This is another beautiful, creative, musical way of saying be in the now. So this was one of the 26 things which inspired the name Bharat. There are many more other aspects which also inspired the name Bharat, but this is the one which I love the most, which is why I shared it with you all. So with that, we proceed headlong into the session. We are in the induction program of this, wonderful institute called the Aditya School of Business Management. What does the word induction stand for? Induction stands in a simple manner for the fact getting yourself ready for a great course, for a great program which could be life transforming. What is the meaning of getting ready? Besides, of course, wearing nice clothes and coming to college, that of course is getting ready. And we are living in an age and era, where more money is being spent in taking care of the hair than the head. That's the age and era we are currently operating in, because we need Instagram perfect pictures. Yeah? Not a strand of hair coming out from anywhere. Everything has to be picture perfect. No matter what the turmoil inside, the outside has to look damn good. Yeah? That is the age and era we are living in. But let me take you to a few other aspects which might serve as eye-openers for the rest of your life. So induction program means your mind has to be ready. First aspect. We know the iPhone, we don't know the I. That is the tragedy of the modern generation. What is leadership? Suppose if I am leading a team of 100 people, it essentially means I am leading 100 minds. Am I right? I don't know what's happening in their mind, and also for sure, I rarely know what's happening in my own mind. Why? What is happening? It is just playing its own song most of the time. So this is what I classically choose to describe as leadership by the blind, for the blind. Yeah? And if you want evidence of leadership by the blind, for the blind, why am I saying this? Your generation is the generation which can change this kind of leadership in the next 15, 20 years. There are very few people thinking in this direction. I hope to stimulate your thought in this direction. What is the evidence in front of us of leadership by the blind for the blind? I'll give you 2-3 examples. Yeah? Among the top 5 industries in the world, number 1 is arms and ammunition probably. Number 2 is drugs, alcohol and intoxicants. Number 3 is pharmaceuticals. Pharma is at number 3. Pharma is required for human well-being at a certain level. But if pharma is at number 3, it means we are eating more medicines than food. But we think we are doing something fantastic. Our economic activity is destroying, has destroyed, not is destroying, I stand corrected, has destroyed 50% of the planet. But we think we are doing something fantastic. Why? Because we have been empowered with naked ambition, but little or almost zero vision. So when you operate life with naked ambition and very limited vision, this is the kind of world we create. And I want to ask a question to everybody here, not just the students, but also the teachers and the faculty. If this is the world we have created, if the societal system and the education system is not responsible for this, I wonder who is. And who will take responsibility to change the future? So we all are equally responsible, not just one particular person or one individual. And the onus lies on us to change the future. And for that, this area is very important, the area of the mind. I am pointing this just for representation. The mind is not here. Okay? Most people presume the brain is the mind and the mind is the brain. It's not true. I'm just pointing here for representation and for you all to get an idea. That's another subject for another day, but let me go further into this. So you have to be mind ready for your MBA program. Yeah? Every experience is an experience in the mind. And I would like to conduct a live experiment here. Somebody who can come up here, it's just a 2-minute fun experiment. Would you like to join? Come. This lady with the spectacles, come. You're smiling a lot, that's why I chose you. Come. Can I have another mic for her, please? No? We have only one mic? If you have only one mic, we'll manage, don't worry. We have two mics. Okay. If it will take time, we'll get started. Come. Be relaxed. Yeah? We're going to have fun. Yeah? There's nothing about right or wrong about the questions that I'm going to ask you. It is just a fun exploration process. So take it easy. Is there any object in this room where there is no thought involved in the creation of the object? I'll give you an example. You can see that beautiful black speaker there? Yeah. So is there any thought involved in the creation of that speaker?
Yeah, so that the voice.
Hold it closer to your mouth, please.
Yeah, so that it is audible to everyone what you are speaking and what is going on is
My
audible.
question is very pointed. Is there any thought involved in the creation of that speaker?
Yes.
Excellent. Is there any object in this room where no thought was involved and yet it was created? Any object in this room?
No, I don't see any.
Any object in the universe that you know where no thought was involved and yet it was created? No. In fact, let me give you the good news. Your parents first thought they should have a child and then you came. Without that, even you would not have come. Am I right?
Yeah.
Great, fantastic. So that was our experiment. We investigated, we explored for ourselves. Thank you so much for being a part of this experiment.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, a big round of applause for her, please. So what have we found out through our own subjective investigation and through our own exploration process? That there is nothing which is created without the involvement of thought. Do you understand now the importance of thought? Life is not happening to you, life is responding to you. People say, this happened to me, that happened to me. No. Life is responding to you. Your thoughts are sending out invisible vibrations. Now most people may think in this room, the physical presence of all of us is the most important thing in the room. No. Your thoughts are constantly sending out vibrations which will determine the energy flow in this room. And that energy flow determines your life. Okay? So the first thing is we must be mind ready for the MBA course and for this fantastic program by the Aditya School of Business Management. I'm going to share one more example with you all, little story. You see, most people sometimes do things because of peer pressure. Parents have said do this. Teachers are saying sit in the classroom. Teachers are saying listen to Vivek Shetty. Huh? Don't jail, more often than not we feel, oh, we have to go through all this because so and so said this. Yeah? I want you to understand this. I'll tell you a small story. There was a very good successful businessman, from the corporate world, which is where you all may eventually find your careers in. One fine day, he got angry because his driver did something what he called as a mistake. Okay? In a fit of anger, he slapped his driver. And that driver was working with him for 20 years. The driver, poor guy, was angry, but he had no other job ready, so he had to tolerate his boss. Yeah? Most people are tolerating their bosses these days. Yeah? So he had to tolerate his boss. And he thought to himself, he was very angry, I've been working so faithfully for 20 years, and one small mistake, which is human error, it can always happen, should he have actually raised his hand on me? He goes back home. His wife has cooked dinner for him. Again, he's in an angry state of mind. There's a little extra salt in the food, so it's become very, very salty. In a fit of anger, he slaps his wife. Now the wife is angry. She cooks delicious food every day. On a particular day, there is a little extra salt. Why should he raise his hand on me? Wife is angry. But again, it's a marriage for 20 years. She tolerates the husband. A little later, her son, who's 8 or 9 years old, comes back after playing in the ground. His clothes are soiled, completely dirty. Now the mom is angry. She slaps the son. And the son is again angry. He's wondering, every day I play, every day the soils get the clothes get a little soiled. Why should she have slapped me today? He's angry. Next day morning when he goes to school, that same anger has continued right through the night while he was sleeping. He sees a dog walking on the other side of the road. He throws a stone at that dog. The dog is hurt. The dog is angry. The dog says, I'm here on this side of the road. He's there. I have done nothing to him. But yet he chooses to throw a stone at me. Why? The dog in that state of anger walks a little further. It sees a man stepping out of his car. The dog bites his leg. Now this man was the same man who slapped his driver. Energy just moved in a circle. Now that rich man from the corporate world would never realize why this happened to him. He will probably think, a mad dog, it's my bad luck, bit me and I suffered what I suffered. But let me tell you this, energy always moves in a circle. Whatever, yes, you have a question?
No. This is saying that...
Please stand up. You're a very proactive guy. Nice French beard. Yes.
So
What's your name? Introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Joshua Rosario.
Joshua?
Joshua Rosario.
Joshua Rosario, yeah.
So, as you said, it is what goes around comes around.
Fantastic. It's a round world.
Yeah.
Big round of applause for Joshua. See, he's thinking. And for those of you who don't believe this and think it's just a story, let me tell you, it's hard science. It's not a story. The story was just, brought up to convey the message to you. Do a simple experiment tomorrow morning. Go to a river or any body of water, throw a stone on that river. You will see the ripples are always formed in circles. Why is it not a triangle or a square or a rectangle? Why is it always a circle? Simple. Energy always moves in a circle. So you come in the morning to the classroom as a picture of joy with complete attention and focus. That energy will go around. Wherever you go, people will also give you the same level of receptivity and joy. So don't do that as a favor to your teachers or as a favor to somebody else. Do that for your own sake. What you give comes round. Okay, this is science. Now, another important point. Having understood the movement of energy, having understood that the mind is a very powerful factor which will determine your life, and I would request Mr. Brian and the respected management of Aditya School of Business Management, please bring mind management and energy management courses into syllabus. It will change the way people operate life forever. Yeah? Because as I said, we know all the latest softwares, we don't know the mind. Yeah? I want you to know in terms of energy. Again, hardcore science. This is not Baba Vivek Shetty giving you some Baba theory. Okay? I'm talking hardcore science to you. Okay? At the rate of 70,000 or 80,000 trillion cells, some scientists say even more, and further at the rate of 1.7 volts per cell. 1.7 volts is the power or the charge of every cell. You have enough energy to light up this room, God forbid if there is a power failure. But where are energy management courses? Where are people focusing on energy? Nowhere. Every experience comes from the energy within you. For example, what I am doing today depends on what I think. What I think depends on what I feel. What I feel depends on the emotion prevailing within my mind-body system at this point in time. What is emotion? If you split the E and the motion, it is nothing but energy in motion. And what does energy in motion depend on? Energy in motion depends on the data streaming around you. What do I mean by data streaming? All of you are listening to me very, very attentively this morning. I can see that focused attention on your faces. You are trying to analyze what I am trying to say. This analysis will create data streaming. That data streaming will create energy flow. That energy flow will create emotion. That emotion will create feeling. That feeling will create thought. That thought will result eventually in some action. Most people in life are focused on the superficial two layers on the top, action and thought. But if you want, you can achieve small changes by focusing on these layers. But the big change comes when the energy flow within you changes, and that is essentially the science of Kriya Yoga, which found its origin in this great country called Bharat. Yeah? So, when the energy flow within you starts changing, many things about you starts happening around you in such a beautiful way, in such a wonderful manner. You will become a magnet who will attract everything you want in your life to yourself. Everything that you want can happen to you right now sitting where you are if your inner magnet is giving out the right energy, vibration and frequency. To give you a small example of energy, vibration and frequency, I do a radio show whenever I get time. That radio show is called Celebrating Life. Okay? Now, all of us have seen a radio set. Yes? What does a radio set essentially do? So, if you want to listen to Vivek Shetty at 6 p.m. on a Friday evening, you tune in to 107.1 megahertz and the broadcast of the program starts. Very simple, we all understand how radio works. So you have to tune in to a certain frequency, then the broadcast starts. Whatever is going on in your lives at this moment, you are tuned to that energy, frequency and vibration. That is why you are getting this broadcast. And tuning to energy, frequency and to a certain energy, frequency and vibration is the science of Kriya Yoga. Now, having understood energy movements and having understood that energy is the most profound aspect of human existence, I am making my own singular efforts to go across universities, to go across management colleges, to go across large corporate groups and make this a part of curriculum and syllabus as far as I can. Hopefully in the next academic year, 2 universities are speaking to us. They want us to design the curriculum and syllabus. Okay? I'll come to another important aspect which is very important for success. All of us are looking to be successful. I think the AC is off, I am fine, but the students will get restless. They will feel the heat after some time. I am okay. Okay. Yeah, they'll get angry at me. He is putting us through a torture chamber or through Bikram Yoga. You know, Bikram Yoga was controversial, but one aspect of Bikram Yoga was he would make you sweat and sweat and sweat while he himself was sitting on a nice, chair up there with a nice cooler blowing cool wind towards him. But the rest of the participants in Bikram Yoga had to sweat, sweat and sweat. Okay? We'll go further into this session. I'm going to touch upon the mind aspect and then I'll come to certain practical techniques about, management and various other aspects of the kind of course that you're doing. My good friend Altamash has already shared a few aspects of, MBA program, so I would not like to repeat that. But I'll go into certain other aspects. So the most important thing, your rate of success is directly proportional to your degree of concentration. Mark these words. Your rate of success in any field is directly proportional to your degree of concentration. What do I mean by degree of concentration? When I grew up, everybody told me focus, apply your concentration, don't get distracted, don't look here, don't look there. Nobody taught me how to focus. Nobody taught me how to concentrate. But for 23 years of my life, my teachers, my parents, all the other so-called elders and peers in society, whenever I moved my head a little here or there, they said, no, concentrate, focus, don't get distracted. How to concentrate? I don't remember attending a single lecture on how to concentrate and how to focus. So today I am going to give you that technique which will help you concentrate and focus with complete intensity of involvement, as we call it in yoga. Because your success depends on how long you can hold your mind steady to a particular field in which you are operating. If your mind is steady in that field, many things will happen to you miraculously faster than it can happen to many other people. Alright? I'll give you an example of Swami Vivekananda. Interesting real life story. Okay? Swami Vivekananda in his teenage years used to go to the college library and pick up one fat book of 300 pages every day. He would return the book the next day morning. This way he continued. The librarian was a little surprised. One fine day the librarian of the college stopped Swami Vivekananda and asked him, do you actually read any of these books? Or is it just for, show that you want to show your family you're a very serious, studious guy, you want to show your friends you're a very academically oriented, studious guy, so you pick up 300 pages book every day. Next day morning you come to me and return the book, pick up another book, and this way it's going on and on. So Vivekananda said, I read every book, cover to cover, every single page. The librarian laughed. The librarian said, you must be joking. These books are so voluminous, how can you possibly finish one book in one day and come back for another book the another day, the very next day? So Vivekananda told, you can take out the list of the last 20, 30, 40, how many ever books I've picked up. Ask me anything from any book. The librarian did not take him too seriously, but the librarian thought, come on, let's test this guy out, I'll have some good fun. So the librarian goes through his register, picks out the last 20 books that Vivekananda had picked up in the last 20 days, gets all the books on the table, starts asking Vivekananda questions. Vivekananda is replying to every question with para, chapter, verse. This question is on page number 42, para number 3, and this is the paragraph which answers this question. One book, Vivekananda replied, para chapter verse. 2 books, 3 books, he did it for all the 20 books. Now the librarian almost fainted. Yeah? The librarian asked him, are you a magician? Who are you? Are you a magician? Who are you? So he said, I am not a magician. I have only practiced concentration since my early childhood, which none of you all have. It's not a miracle at all. If you practice concentration, chances are what you read, you will retain for a lifetime, and you may probably never forget. Now, what is concentration? Now, this is the trick I'm coming to, which may help each one of you. I'm going to give you some practical exercises which you can do on your own and observe for yourself how your concentration improves over a period of time. I go for lectures which may sometimes go for 2-3 hours. My talk is for 1 hour. The question answer goes on for 2 more hours after that. So I've done this for IIT and IIM guys also. Okay, I've done this for the best of management universities. I don't carry a single piece of paper with me wherever I go. Not a single piece of paper. Why? A little knowledge about techniques of concentration. A little knowledge about how to train your memory. We say there is nothing called good memory and bad memory. There is only trained memory and untrained memory. Okay? Certain memories are trained, so it's not a miracle at all. Anyone can do it very easily, provided you pay attention. Okay? So this technique of concentration, which Vivekananda spoke about. Good morning. Are you with me? Great. So this technique of concentration, which Vivekananda spoke about, is the following. Pay careful attention. Yeah? What's your name, please? The guy in the pink shirt. Dhumil. Oh. So it's like this. When you learn apple, A for apple, all of us have learned. Somebody has to tell you A, P, B, L, E, A for apple. Correct? That's how you learn A for apple. This goes on for the first 3-4 years of your life. Finally, by the time you reach